You've seemed down lately. Are you okay? Amy's concerns were spot on. I was struck by severe abdominal pain in her absence and had to be taken to the hospital. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I didn't notice you were in such a state, and to think I was out drinking with friends. I'm a failure as a wife, she lamented. The next day, Amy showed up in my hospital room with an innocent face, not knowing that I was aware of everything, and handed me divorce papers. "Isn't this Rain amazing?" she remarked, trying to change the subject. "He's so successful, a far cry from a pauper, haha." 6 months later, my ex-wife appeared before me, flaunting the ring she received from her new husband. "Hey, do you know who my new hubby is?" "Someone you know very well, of course." "Well, he's jobless starting tomorrow," I thought, feeling a tinge of satisfaction. Poor thing, she had no idea that I was preparing to set her up. At the same time, I was introducing my precious project to the world. My name is Kyle. I was born into what you typically call a wealthy family. The cosmetics company my grandmother founded has become a famous firm that ranks high on the list of places where women want to work. It's not an easy place to get into. This large corporation, with over 5,000 employees, was taken over by my father and was to be succeeded by my elder brother. As the second son, who was always considered the black sheep, I never really felt like part of the family. There was a time I tried everything to gain my parents' and my brother's recognition, but an incident in elementary school broke my spirit. "Hey, Kyle, I managed to get a reservation at that famously hard-to-book restaurant for this weekend. We're going to Karuizawa," my father told me over dinner. Having been left behind on every trip, the idea of being taken to such a special restaurant had me over the moon. "Yay, I'm really looking forward to it," I exclaimed. Even back then, I loved fashion, so I was lost and fought about what to wear from my closet, unaware that my brother and father were laughing at me. When I woke up on the day we were supposed to go to Karuizawa, there was no one else at home. That's when I remembered, but they never actually said I was coming with them. Since then, I've stopped relying on or expecting anything from anyone. After graduating from college, for some reason, my grandmother got me a position in her company, where I spent my days being called the black sheep of the president's family by the employees. A monumental turning point came my way when I turned 42. My successor will be Kyle. Suddenly, my grandmother appeared at our home and declared she was making me the president. I had been interested in makeup since a time when it wasn't common for men, taking photos for my own satisfaction when my parents weren't around. It seems my grandmother had noticed a condition of my skin and figured it out. "Furthermore, you will be a hindrance to him as president, so you must leave the company," she said. My father and brother were ousted from the company, and tranquility arrived all too easily. Being president is tough, but now I might finally grasp the happiness that is common for others. Yet what awaited me was an even worse betrayal. After becoming president, my grandmother arranged for a car to transport me, but it felt uncomfortable, so I stopped using it. That day, as usual, after getting off the train, I was greeted warmly with a "long time no see" from a high school classmate. We weren't particularly close, but his high social skills quickly led to us making plans for a drink. Due to my family environment, I wasn't naturally outgoing and found social gatherings like drinking parties challenging. On the day of the event, I told myself there might be something to learn from his communication skills as I prepared to take on the role of president and entered the agreed upon establishment. Waiting there were 4 men besides me and 5 women. I realized I had been duped, but couldn't just leave. Starting to tire of the forced smiles, a woman handed me a glass. Kyle, you were tricked into coming here, huh? Like, let's drink together for old time's sake. That was exactly it, so I nodded slightly. It's Ulun. Please go ahead if you'd like. How did you know I don't like alcohol? Well, you haven't finished your beer for toasting yet. Plus, aren't these kinds of drinking situations not your thing? She was spot on with her comment, and I found myself applauding her. Actually, I feel the same way. Let's talk together. She was the second person in my life who truly understood me. The first was a man I could call my only friend, and now her. Additionally, she complimented this subtle makeup I had on, typical of someone who works at a cosmetics company. Your skin looks really great. The other women seemed to notice. I was wearing makeup too, but maybe they thought it was weird for a man over 40 to wear makeup as all I got were grimaces. Moreover, my classmate didn't know I was the president, so in my introduction, I just said I worked at a cosmetics company. She wasn't drawn to me because of my title as president. Being genuinely complimented by her, it was natural that I was drawn to her. Could you tell me your name, please? I already did in my introduction. It's Amy. She and I had a lot in common, and by the time 3 months had passed since our meeting, I was already thinking she was the one. Would you consider dating me with marriage in mind? I asked her this, and we started dating, leading to a whirlwind marriage just 6 months after meeting. I never had the heart to tell her that as a company president, she would need to accompany me to dinners and events after we were married, especially since she disliked social gatherings as much as I did. Luckily, she expressed a desire to skip a wedding ceremony because of her shyness, so we avoided that reveal. I made excuses to avoid bringing Amy to company dinners. Somehow, it all seemed to work out more smoothly than I expected. Life with Jay was going well, and our first anniversary was approaching. I had booked a luxury inn in Karuizawa, a place she had always wanted to visit. The memory of Karuizawa brought back unpleasant feelings, but I shook them off for Amy's sake. Just 1 month to go. I'm really looking forward to it. As I watched Amy picking out places she wanted to visit in Karuizawa, I sipped my coffee. That day, we were enjoying lunch on the cafe terrace. Thinking about it, going to Karuizawa with Amy could turn a bad memory into a good one. During the tough times when I was still getting used to being a president, Amy was there to support me mentally. She might not realize it, but I feel so grateful for her support. It warms my heart. So engrossed was I in watching Amy that I didn't notice a man approaching. Kyle, is that you? It was Luke, my only friend. He gave a friendly smile, comparing me and Amy. I was wondering what kind of person you were since you wouldn't introduce us. Your wife is incredibly beautiful. Amy blushed at the compliment to her appearance. That's why I didn't want to introduce her to him. Luke is a great friend, but he has a bit of a reputation with women. He's a college buddy, and it wasn't just once or twice that he called me to bail him out when his affairs collided at his place. Aside from his issues with women, he's excellent at his job, and he's always genuinely angry on my behalf whenever something happens with my family. It's a shame, really, considering his good qualities. This guy is my friend. We've been together since college, and now we work at the same company. The same company, huh? Amy gave Luke a thorough once-over, as if appraising him. Surely she wouldn't betray me of all people. Oblivious to my worries, their conversation took off without me. It seemed unbelievable that Amy, who claimed to be shy, hoped Luke would naturally not make a move on his friend's wife. I worried about their friendship for a while, but it appeared to be unnecessary. Amy, a stay-at-home wife, was always there waiting for me when I got back from work, and she made plans with friends during weekdays, leaving weekends for us to spend together. There was no sign she met with Luke, who shared my work schedule. I felt embarrassed for doubting them. "You've seemed down lately. Are you okay?" Amy gave me a concerned look as I returned from work. Truth be told, I hadn't been feeling well lately, perhaps due to the stress of finalizing a new product launch. I was glad she noticed, but I didn't want to worry her, so I pretended everything was fine. "It's just the exhaustion from the upcoming product launch. Thanks for worrying about me, really. I was thinking of turning it down since you seemed unwell, but some old college friends suggested we get together this weekend after a long time. They proposed to sleep over and drink at home. Would it be all right? If I go, hearing it was a rare gathering, I couldn't bring myself to mention how bad I really felt." "That sounds great. Have fun," I regretted, sending Amy off as my consciousness faded that day. Perhaps her absence made me let my guard down. While watching TV, I was suddenly struck by severe abdominal pain. I couldn't even sit up properly on the sofa and barely managed to grab my smartphone from the coffee table to call an ambulance. At the hospital, I was diagnosed with appendicitis and immediately underwent surgery. When I woke up in my hospital room, the only person by my side was my secretary, Smith. Smith, please stop with the 'why are you here' look. You were the one who called me because you were being taken by ambulance, saying it might affect your work." Despite being nearly 10 years younger than me and having served as a secretary since my grandmother's time, she wasn't sparing. "Didn't you say you had your brother's wedding in Karuizawa today?" "That's correct. I returned midway for the president's sake." "I'm sorry, really," I apologized, but my thoughts were on Amy. Despite calling her before Smith, there was no callback from her. "Did you contact your wife?" "I did, but maybe she's caught up having fun with her friends," I said with a wry smile, which prompted Smith to toss her phone at me. "You're too nice, President," she remarked. On that phone, an unbelievable photo was displayed. "I'm so sorry I didn't realize you were in such a condition while I was out drinking with friends. I'm such a failure as a wife." Amy showed up in my hospital room the next day with an innocent face, handing me divorce papers. "I also thought it might be better for you if we got divorced." We ended up divorcing right before our first wedding anniversary. Finally, this brings closure. 6 months after the divorce, the launch of my new product, which I had put my all into, was about to begin. Having lost Amy, I had nothing left but to throw myself into my work, especially into this product that I was particularly passionate about. It was our company's first line of cosmetics targeted at men. I nurtured this product as if it were my own child, hoping that its success would help me forget Amy. Despite my efforts, fate proved cruel. "Oh, you're here too, huh?" In the lobby of the venue, which was a wedding hall chosen to represent diversity, I ran into Amy, my ex-wife. The irony of meeting my former spouse here was not lost on me. I had considered the possibility she might be here, so it was fine if she was here. It was time to start the plan I had reserved for such an occasion. I looked at my once wife with pity. I got remarried, she boasted proudly, showing off her left hand. Isn't this ring amazing? Unlike those cheap ones you used to bring, this one is from a super high-end brand. He's so successful, a far cry from a poor man like you. Amy laughed loudly, not minding the people passing by. Hey, do you know who my new hubby is? Someone you know very well. Of course I do. Well, he's jobless starting tomorrow. As I tried to leave, she grabbed my arm with surprising strength, despite having pretended to be frail during our marriage, as if she had never lifted anything heavier than chopsticks. Don't you dare walk away as if a poor man like you has any right to, or what, feeling all high and mighty. Maybe I should ask him to fire you. Ha. And you think you're speaking to whom? Amy began to sense something was off, facing my unwavering demeanor with my hands weakening, waving them as if to drive away an insect. Hey, Amy, what on earth are you doing? At last, the other protagonist in this story appeared. It was my friend Luke, notorious for his trouble with women. I thought we'd break it to Kyle about us getting married. Ha. I told you not to tell Kyle. It's going to come out sooner or later, so it might as well be now, right? Ha. Oh, and by the way, this guy has been nothing but rude to me. Maybe you should transfer him to some branch in Nebraska. Ha. Luke turned pale at Amy's words. I thought something wasn't jiving with your conversation. But do you seriously not know? Excuse me, what do you mean? I'll answer for her. Amy doesn't know that I'm the president of this company. Ha. The look on Amy's face was priceless, to say the least. She must be regretting letting such a big fish slip away. I heard you're not fond of parties and are shy, just like me. I thought you'd hate being the president's wife, so I kept it a secret. Amy, coming back to her senses, furiously blushed with anger. If you're the president, then divorcing you makes no sense. I knew that Luke was a top-tier director, unlike you. I switched for the money, you know. Now it was Luke's turn to be stunned. He's not fundamentally a bad guy. I figured he was just easily swayed by Amy's temptations, and it seems I was right. It's really a good thing I didn't tell her I'm the president. If Amy knew I was the president by now, she would have been living it up with my money. I'm grateful to my past self. Oh, and by the way, I know about the day. I was rushed to the hospital with appendicitis while you two were on a date in Aspen. The photo shown to me by my secretary, Smith, was of the two of them walking arm in arm, looking cozy. He happened to see them while they were heading from their lodging to a wedding venue. Further investigation revealed that Luke had taken a day off to meet Amy secretly during a weekday. I shivered at the thought of how Amy and Luke could interact with me so calmly, regardless of their true feelings. There's more evidence where that came from. I'm in a position to demand compensation, but I didn't. You should be grateful. Amy probably couldn't stand being talked down to by me. She acted exactly as I had imagined, making me laugh unintentionally. Right, let's split the assets then. I didn't consider it before since I thought I had free rein over Luke's money, but if you're the president, that's a different story. Pretending to be the obedient wife you'd like has been mentally taxing, so I expect a hefty compensation considering what awaits her. I can't even be mad at Amy's absurd claims. Fine, you can have as much money as you want, if she can take it, that is. From behind, I heard the voice of the person I had been waiting for. Wow, talk about a dramatic scene, huh? The man twisted his handsome face in disgust. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'll head to the venue right away, too. Amy was frozen, staring at his face, and no wonder. He's the image model for our new product launch. You're getting to see him in person. You're a fan, aren't you? The man is a young actor whose popularity is skyrocketing. Though he tried to keep it a secret from me, Amy is a huge fan of his. I had thought she might have heard about his role as the image model from Luke, even though it was supposed to be confidential until today. Wait, you're really going to split your assets with someone like her? Yeah, my hobby is my job, so I literally have nowhere else to spend my money. I wish I could say something like that just once in my life. The man shifted his gaze from me and looked at Amy. Well, if she actually took the money, that would make her the lowest of the low. There's no way she could demand money after being told that by the man she adores. It was a joke, obviously. Can we take a photo together? To think she'd ask for a photo in this situation. The man signaled his manager with his eyes and lied smoothly. I can't because of my agency's policy. Before heading to the venue, lucky you get to see his interview next. Amy started to tremble violently. I'm going home. As she ran off, Luke slumped down, drained of strength. Sorry. I can't imagine anything I say will make this right, but I'll listen. Luke, you may leave for today. We will inform you of your disciplinary action later. The only ones who understood me were Luke and Amy, and I was betrayed by both of them. If it weren't for the new product, I might have given up on everything and despaired of life. He was my only friend. Such a shame. I could never forgive Luke, who had been my friend longer than Amy. The new product launch was a success. I wanted men to enjoy fashion too, to encourage men who, like me, couldn't find confidence in themselves. So I worked with my team to create our new flagship product. Social media was flooded with comments from men who had previously hidden their desire to wear makeup, saying our product encouraged them to open up. Those comments gave me, the creator, a sense of purpose. Luke, who should have been praised as the head of planning for this achievement, is now a shadow of his former self. Although I mentioned disciplinary action, at that moment, I deliberately let Luke off the hook. I thought that everyone else would give him the punishment he deserved, without me having to do anything. As expected, our confrontation in the lobby was overheard by many employees, and Luke gradually lost popularity. His once bright personality seemed like a lie, as he could no longer give clear instructions to his subordinates. About a month later, he submitted his resignation. Aren't you curious about what happened to your ex-wife? Sometime after Luke left the company, Smith approached me with a smirk. It was the first time I saw the woman who was so efficient and error-free in her work that she was nicknamed the AI secretary behind her back break her usual expressionless demeanor. Do you enjoy gossip? They say misery loves company, don't they? That's when I realized why she had taken photos of Amy and Karuizawa. It wasn't for me, but for her own amusement. In a way, it's a hobby that suits a secretary very well. I heard she was originally working in a restaurant when my grandmother noticed her competence and scouted her. Her ability to gather information must have been included in that judgment of competence. I made a mental note not to make her an enemy. So, what happened to Amy? Despite all she said in front of Luke, she apparently doesn't want to work and hasn't signed the divorce papers. They're in the middle of a messy divorce mediation now. Both Luke and I, to think we got entangled with such a woman. I'm truly relieved I could get a divorce without any trouble. Wait, after all that ranting, could it be? Yes, I heard everything. As the secretary, you should have come to help me. I fought resentfully as I looked at Smith. Our relationship, just as secretary and a president, took a sharp turn after we went to Karuizawa. Smith kept complaining that because I got appendicitis, we couldn't go to the store she wanted to visit or the outlet, so I ended up taking her there on a day off. Look, President, the regular price is $800, but now it's only $200. Are you saying I should buy it? If you hadn't called me away, that nice guy at the wedding might have bought it for me. Of course, it was just a day trip, but in those few hours, I was amazed at how much she managed to spend with this tactic. While taking out my card, I suddenly realized that being with her, I could be my true self without any stress. So, you're not dating that guy? Just had a good vibe with him. That's right. Because of you, I couldn't even exchange contact information. I'm glad I got appendicitis then. Smith looked at me with a puzzled expression. Did you eat something weird? I don't want to take someone else's partner like Luke did. I'm just glad you don't have a boyfriend. It would be a bit longer before she starts supporting me, both professionally and personally. And so, having my wedding in Karuizawa allowed me to finally repaint the unpleasant memories with new, happier ones.